Okay. Hey everyone, we're going to be continuing on with iOS extensions today. We're going to be moving on to something that's pretty interesting, and that is action extensions. So let me clean up a little bit here. I've been doing a little bit of follow-up on the topic from last time, which was today extensions. I could just show it to you guys quickly before we move on. So in our action extension last time, I just had a button that would open up the containing app, which wasn't that exciting. So what I decided to do was, since it's a bird-themed app, I created a bird fetcher here in our bird kit, which is a framework, and basically just have a way to fetch some dummy data, which is some featured birds that we can show in the today widget. So a sapsucker, a ruddy duck, and a chipping sparrow. And back in our today's birds, because we're importing BirdKit, we can basically just say for widget perform update, we can just basically clean out the stack view, remove everything from our array, fetch a new array of birds, and if there are any birds, we're going to just insert those in the stack view, insert those images in the stack view, and call the completion handler to say we have new data. And if it comes back as 0, which it won't right now because it's just hard-coded, we're going to return no data. And then I was just checking something out right here, so this isn't really important. So let's just very quickly check this out. This is definitely not cleaned up or anything yet, but we can take a look. All right, cool. So that hit. Okay. So, and in the expanded mode, you see a bunch of birds. Obviously, these should be cleaned up and kind of be the same size and everything. But for right now, you can see that it's got the 3. And we can say show less, and we're going to go down to the 1 bird. So there's tons of improvements we could do here. But this is just a little bit more of a realistic example of like showing more and showing less. But with that, we're going to be moving on to our action extension. So to do that, we're gonna stick with this bird watching app for at least a few more lessons. We're gonna go back to the containing app, which is Bird Watcher. Press the plus button. We're gonna add an action extension. Bird Translator. Okay, so let's check out what an action extension is real quick. We keep moving. Okay, so I'm on the programming guide for app extensions, and it says an action extension helps users view or transform content originating in a host app. So the canonical example that I've been seeing a lot of are translation apps, where if you have an app that's in English and you press an action extension, another service, like another app who has an app extension, can translate that for you into whatever. And so it translates it for you in the other app's view controller, really. And then you can press done and you can go back to your original app. So it can just show you the updated content when you're in the other app, but if the original app accepts action extensions, you can actually take that translated whatever in the app extension and send it back to the originating app, where they can replace their content with your content, which is pretty cool. So for example, an action extension might help users edit an image in a document they're viewing in a text editor. Another type might let users view a selected item in a different way, such as viewing an image in a totally different format. Yeah, right? So you can maybe maybe we could use that for the AR kit, right? You could have like a product from Amazon. You could launch it. Actually, that probably wouldn't work. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe it would. And just in theory, you'd be able to like put that product in your living room. Maybe that's something we can try out later. So that's what an extension is. So let's get started trying to build one. And what I was thinking today, we'll do something really simple. We'll do like we will take we'll build a little bit of an interface here in our main birdwatching app, and we'll just have a label. And we'll have a bird name. We'll call it a raven. And we'll just take that and we'll center it. So this is our main containing app, right? And the goal is to have an app extension that is going to translate a bird's common name into its scientific name. Let's find out what that even is. Scientific name. A Corvus corax. Okay, so our goal here is to translate common bird names, such as raven, into the scientific ones, Corvus corax. So that's what we're going to work on today. And we're going to do this in 2 stages. We're going to do it in stage 1. We're going to be showing the Latin name in our app extension. And then in part 2, we are going to update our containing app to also update itself with the content from the app extension. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's see, first of all, so we've already got this part done. Now we're going to jump over to the app extension. So we're going to close a couple things up here. We're going to go to our bird translator and let's see what they give us for free. So we get a action view controller, a storyboard, and a plist. So in our storyboard, we get this view with a nav bar that has a done button and an image view and some constraints. So let's see if we can even just fire this thing up and see what it looks like. So what you have to do is pick a containing app to run it from within. And let's see what we can do here. I wonder if this would be better off on my phone. Probably. I'm going to try running it on my phone, see how that looks. Sweet, okay, this should work. Okay, so we are going to run it on my phone, and we're going to we'll use notes. And I'll explain more about this as we go. Just have to be able to see my phone. Okay. So the way you do this is you have your notes fired up, and then you press on the top right corner the share button, and we should be able to find bird translator. Okay, so you see that right here. We're going to tap that. And it's just going to show that blank view, but it's also going to have the done button. And right now it's got the image, which we're not really using. So you can kind of see where we're headed at least. Okay. So let's take a little bit closer look now at the action view controller. Okay, so this is all the template that's coming in. So there's an image view. Let's clean it up. I can't stand having too much crap we're not going to use. So I'm going to select the image view, delete it, go back to the view controller. I'm going to kill this outlet. Now we can start looking through the code. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the items we're handling from the extension context. And again, we talked about this before, but all UI view controller subclasses have something called an extension context. And an extension context tells you more information about that view controller in the context of when you're presenting it from an extension, right? So you have our normal view controller that we're using up in our main app up here, and it has a view controller, and this view controller has an extension. So it's a way, this extension context is in a way, so that is really this view controller, our main app's view controller's extension context that we then pass over to the extension. So what we're doing here is image found. I'm not sure what image found equals, so we don't need that. So, sorry guys, let's just get rid of this and we'll work from scratch. Again, we don't need did receive memory warning, and this IB action here is connected to the that done button that we saw on the storyboard a few minutes ago. So we'll handle that. We'll keep that because that's actually useful. We'll come back to that. So our goal here right now is that we want to, when we open up, okay, so now there's one more thing to talk about, is that there are two types of information that you can pass over to a app action extension. You can pass text or you can pass pictures. And you register for what types of things you can accept, like which ones you want to handle, in your extensions info plist, in NS extension attributes. And so right now, by default, with the template that they give you something called true predicate. And that basically means it just accepts everything. And that's fine for now. We'll just say we accept everything. But we're going to come back later and clean that up. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our main interface. And what we're going to do here is we're going to add another label, right? We're going to this will be the label that is showing the scientific name. And then we're going to have another one down here, which was the common name that got passed in. So we'll just set some simple. So this will be the scientific name. And this down here will be the common name that we get from the other app. So we'll horizontal, and we will add a bottom constraint here. Okay, cool. Let's create up some outlets real quick. So this is going to be our science name label. And this one is going to be our common name label. Okay. Okay. So we're going to be getting, actually we can close it up so we have some more room to work. So we're going to get a text item. extension context. And for right now, just to keep things simple, we're not going to be doing sort of our proper wrapping and unwrapping and guarding. We're just gonna be force unwrapping everything just to keep the focus on what's really important here. So we're going to take our extension context. We're going to assume we have one. And we're going to say input items. Give me the first input item, which we'll just do like this. And we're going to cast it as an NS extension item. An NS extension item is an immutable collection of values representing different aspects of an item for an extension to act upon. So that means that there could be multiple extension items inside your extension context. And then we can say, give me a text item provider. Text item provider is going to equal the text item. And so we're going to pull out the attachments, an optional array of media data associated with the extension item. Again, we're going to grab the first one. And these are NS item providers. So we're going to force cast as an NS item provider. And you'll remember if you were watching the drag and drop series, NS item provider, there's the same kind of relationship with drag and drop. You have the drag and drop items that have an array of NS item providers in them, and then those contain the data that we work with. It's the same paradigm here. We have NS extension items, which has an array of NS item providers. So we're going to do the same kind of checks and same ways of loading data from NS item provider that we used in drag and drop. So we're going to say if text item provider has item conforming to KUTT type text as string. So what this is doing is saying if this item, text item provider has any items conforming to this type identifier, so basically if this thing has any strings in it whatsoever, or any text whatsoever, then we'll do the following, right? And so then what we'll do is we'll say load item, and we're going to say we're going to load the KUTT type text as string, and this this unfortunate as string casting is something that's required because of, I think it has to do with Objective-C Swift bridging right now. That's a little bit fugly, but we just have to deal with it. For now, we're just gonna pass a nil for our options. And because this could potentially take a while, it's asynchronous, so we are going to get a result and an error back in a completion handler when we're done loading our data. So again, all the way down the stack, we have, this is a view controller, so we have a extension context, and an extension context has an array of extension items, and those items can have attachments, which are NS item providers. So you could have multiple items that each have multiple attachments. That's something to think of. But in this case, we're just doing the simpler scenario. So then we're saying, give me the first attachment. And if that attachment has any items in it that conform to basically a text type, then we're going to load up that data. And we're going to make a request to the containing app, the one that we got this action item request from, and we're going to pass the data over between that bridge, between the walled gardens of the two apps. And in the completion handler, we're going to get the text. So we're going to say, for now, we'll just say common name label dot text equals result as string. Because result is just conforming to NS item provider reading. But we know that unless this is a string, we just kind of want to bail. So we're just checking to make sure this is a string. Oh yeah, we're in a closure, so we have to use self. And then if self.common name label is not equal to nil, then we're going to basically say we're going to convert our common name, which we're getting from the other app, into a scientific name. So I don't want to spend too much time on this, but we'll just kind of hack something up for right now. We'll say, so if a common name comes across, whatever, we'll go back to BirdKit and we'll make something up. We'll say bird name translator in BirdKit. And quickly, we'll just make a public struct bird name translator public static func translate common name, and we are going to return optional string. And very, very simply, what did we use over here? We used Raven. So basically, we'll just look for Raven. Okay, yeah. So if common name equals Raven, return Corvus corax. Else return nil. All right, so obviously we could go out to a web service here and get the scientific name. We could have a much more sophisticated lookup, but this is just kind of a dummy thing. So we're gonna go back to our extension. So now we're saying if there's a common name, we're then going to say the science name label dot text is going to equal to bird name. Oh wait, we have to import our BirdKit. Bird what do we call this thing? Bird name translator, right? Yeah. Public struct, public static. Do we have to do the public init thing? Sometimes, I haven't found out the exact pattern yet, but sometimes I have to include this public init. Bird name. What a pain in the ass. No, didn't mean any of those things. Stuffed up. Let's try a quick clean as well. Oh, you can't import BirdKit. Oh, yeah, okay. I forgot one of the basics from last time. So, we never set the dependency on with Bird Translator of letting it know that it needs to know about BirdKit. So that's easy. We go to the project, we go down to Bird Translator, linked frameworks and libraries, and we just add BirdKit. There we go. Awesome. Okay. Now, should be good. Import BirdKit, shows up, beautiful. And now our science name label can be bird name translator dot translate common name, and the common name is self dot common name. Oh, it's just result. This is what I get for taking stupid shortcuts. Common name equals result string. Common name, and we're going to translate common name down here. Oh yeah, that can't be optional, so we'll just bang it like that. Okay. Okay. Let's just quickly try to run this and see what happens real fast. Oh wait, we can't. No, we can. I know how to do it. Okay. Let's stop this. And how do we spell Raven? Do we have it capitalized? Raven capitalized, yeah. All right. So Raven, we're going to launch it inside of Bird Translator. Hey, there we go. It's got the common name at the bottom. It translated it for us up here. So that's one half of the puzzle right there. That is how to get text out of, so now so it's not even our app, right? We just put it into notes and it figured it out for us. So this is like, if there were 20 bird watching apps out there and they were all using common names and they, we could, and if the user had our app extension installed, all they would have to do is, if there was, actually, so there has to be a share extension in the original app, which there is for most of the system apps, first-party apps, and a lot of third-party apps as well. Then, as long as they had the text in there, text is an option, then they'd be able to use our extension. So I'm going to click Done. Oh, and all right, so we haven't implemented the done part yet. Okay, so we got to keep moving. Let's go back to our action extension, and let's handle the done being tapped real quick. And to do that, the simplest way, without sending in any information back, is we can just say extension context. Again, we're going to force and wrap it. We're going to call complete request. We're not going to return anything, so we're just going to pass nil there, and we're going to pass nil for our completion handler. Let's try that. Okay, so Raven, back to our share sheet, bird translator, Corpus Corax, and now I'm going to have done, and it goes back to the containing app. Sweet. All right, now, oh, yeah, there's something else I want to do. I want to fix, okay. Let's go back to the info P list. So all right, so you can see that we have a warning. And it says, warning, embedded binaries, app extension rule is true predicate. Before you submit your containing app to the App Store, be sure to replace all uses of true predicate with specific predicate statements or NS extension activation keys. So basically, they won't accept your app if you use this. This is just a way to like get started with development so it goes quickly, but then you can't actually use this. So the way to fix this is, so this is inside of our NS extension dictionary, inside of NS extension attributes, we're going to change this thing here to NS extension. And I'm just going to copy it because I'm going to guarantee to do a typo mistake. All right. This thing is called NS extension activation supports text. And it's not a string, it's a bool, and the answer is true. So if the containing app, like in this case notes, is trying to pass us an image, and it's declaring that it's going to pass us an image, we're not going to show up in that list in the share sheet. If it's saying that it's just looking for extensions that support text, ours will show up. Now, in reality, the Notes app actually says that any app extensions, any action extensions have to support both images and text. So ours should no longer show up. So you can see, first of all, that our warning is going to go away when we build, right? We'll fire this thing up again. We'll pick Notes again. Back to our notes, back with our Raven, but when we tap our share sheet, we're not going to see our Birdwatcher thing anymore because we're no longer saying we support both images and text. And that's what the deal is with that. That's cool. So now we're just going to make our normal bird watching app, our Birdwatcher app up here, support what we need it to. Okay. So let's get started. I'm going to go back up to our main app. We'll wrap it in a nav controller. We'll add a bar button item. Up here, and we'll give it that share sheet look. That's one of the defaults. Add, edit, done, cancel, save, undo, compose, reply, action. Yeah, action. So let's hook up an IB action to that action button. New. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay, we're going to switch this to action. We're going to say handle share action tapped. Okay. So basically, let's take a quick look. We're going to switch back to our simulator now because we no longer need notes. And we'll go back to our Birdwatcher app and we'll fire that thing up. Okay, so now our view controller is now wrapped in a navigation controller, which gives us the ability to add a bar button item. So we added a bar button item, we tap it, nothing happens. Hold on, I gotta shut my Roomba off real quick. Okay, sorry about that. So our goal is that when we tap this share button up here, we're going to get a share sheet, the standard UI share sheet, and our Bird Translator is going to be one of the options. So in order to do that, we're going to create an activity view controller. Let's give ourselves some room to work here. Okay, so equal the UI activity view controller. Oh, wait 1 second here. Okay. We are going to do one more quick thing. We're going to add an outlet for the common bird name label over here. Or actually, it's going to end up being a bird name label. Bird name label. All right, sweet. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to create an activity item. Activity item, S. Is it, wait. Use with activity controllers. Okay. The way I've done this before, I'm going to just go back to the simpler way to do this. Sorry about that. So let activity controller equal UI activity view controller, and the designated initializer for that is you pass in an array of activity items, and we're just going to pass in the text from our text view. So we have our bird name label text view. We're going to pass in the text from there, and then application activities we're just going to pass nil. All right, now we can go into this a little bit more. View controller that you can use to offer various services from your app. The services provide several standard services, such as copying items, posting content to social media, and sending items via SMS. Apps can also define custom services, and that's basically what we're doing. Configuration for the view controller involves specifying the data objects on which the view controller should act. So that data is the text from our bird name label. I'm still not too sure what application activities is. An array of UI activity objects representing the custom services that your application supports. Oh, okay. So that's if you only want certain types of things to show up in your share sheet. Gotcha. And activity items, the array of data objects on which to perform the activity. The type of objects in the array is variable and dependent on the data your application manages. For example, the data might consist of one or more strings or image objects. All right, so we're passing in a string. And we're just going to then say present view controller, activity view controller, animated true, and completion nil. And then we're going to add the completion handler to the activity view controller. So activity view controller, completion with items handler. So this is the completion handler to execute after the activity view controller is dismissed. Okay. And we're just going to pass it in. Actually, I wonder, wait, I think we can actually get started without doing this. So let's try to keep it in steps and going as simple as possible. What's up with this? Provide a default value. Okay. Okay, yeah. For now, we're just gonna we're just force unwrapping everything today to keep things moving along because this is already taking a while. Okay, so now we tap here and we get presented with some options. We may need to run this one more time. I've had that happen before where I didn't pick it up and see it the first time. Okay, what am I doing wrong here? Okay, let me try one more thing. Let's go back to the bird translator. We'll go with our bird watcher. Okay, there's something I'm doing wrong here. We're gonna have to, it's okay, we are gonna get it figured out. I'm gonna start by putting in and this is the self dot label. Bird watcher. Yep. Okay. All right. Let me bring over my demo app that I've been working from. See if we can't get this figured out. So the app delegate looks normal. What about the info plist? No, this shouldn't matter. No, bird app. Bundle version, device capabilities. That's not it. it's not like we're really registering for activities. Okay. Let's quickly take a look at the sample app. So the sample app has very, very similar situation. My action demo app here. So let's check this one out. Okay, this is some sample text. We are going to find the name of our, what is this? This is, change her up, yep. So this is some sample text, and we're going to launch our app extension, which is called Change Her Up, and it's going to increase the size of the text, make it all caps. We're going to press done, and then it's going to come back to the host app, and it's going to update the content. So for now, I think the best thing to do, wait, let me give one more check here. This extension. Oh, wait a minute. I think I might know what's going on. So the one that just worked versus mine, we have NS extension attributes, and then there's another dictionary inside of this. That's what the problem is. So this one is, let's just copy it so we don't screw this up. NS extension activity rule. And we're going to add a key here, which is NS extension supports text. That's going to be a bool. This one is a dictionary. Sorry, so this rule has to be inside the dictionary. So this is a bool. That's going to be yes. Okay. That was the problem. So the order is NS extension dictionary has a NS extension attributes dictionary, which has an NS extension activation rule dictionary. And inside of that, that's where we're saying, okay, we want to support text, and the answer is yes. I'm guessing that is the problem, but let's find out. Bird Translator, there it is. Okay, so there's our scientific name, and now we're going to press done. And we didn't get back. All right, now we just have to debug what's going on there. So I think we're in a much better shape now. So that problem is solved. And now let's just see what's going on with what's going on here. So let's walk through the code a little bit. So when the activity view controller completes, we're going to check all of these things. We're going to guard on all of this stuff. And let's see where that leaves us. See if that's where it fails. You know, that's kind of an interesting thing too. We can Now that we have multiple app extensions, we have changer up in here, which we know that makes large text and it capitalizes it. From our birdwatching app, we can use changer up, and it doesn't translate it into the scientific notation, but it does translate it into a different UI, a different look. And see, in this case, oh, wait, I know what it is. Okay. It passed back Raven in the new format. So what must be happening is in our in our action extension, right? We're not passing anything. We're just passing nil back in our returning item. So that's our next step. Okay, back to it. So when the user presses done, return, we're going to create an NS item provider, same as we used in drag and drop. Return provider equals NS item provider. And we'll use science name label dot text. We're going to force and wrap it, and wait. We have to also as NS secure coding, okay? And actually, I don't think we even need this. With type identifier, again, it's KUTT type text as string. And then we're going to say let return we got to force downcast it. Okay. Let return item, because we're going to create an extension item now. Return item equal NS extension item. And then we're going to add its attachments. So we're going to say return item. Attachments is going to be an array, and that's just going to be our one item provider. Return item. Okay, so we're basically doing the opposite here as we did over here. Over here, we said, okay, we have an extension item, and we're going to take the first attachment from that extension item and make that our provider. Here we're saying, okay, we're going to create a provider, and then an extension, and then we're going to add attachments onto that extension item. And for our array of returning items, then we can just say, return provider. Return item. That was a mistake. We do return provider because we needed an attachment is an array of providers. And then here, we're going to have an array of items. So we're going to say return item. All right. What are we complaining about here? Hold on. Okay, bird watcher. Go scientific name, common name, done, and there we go. All right, so let's go back to our main app. So we are saying in our completion with items handler here, we have an activity type, a completed bool, the items, and the error. So we're going to make sure we have items. We're going to make sure we have at least one item. We're going to make sure that the text item is the first element in the return item, so we're going to assume there's only one, is an NS extension item. Then we're going to pull out that extension item's attachments. There's a lot of steps here. Like this is not easy or super intuitive, but at least it's kind of parallel between the different APIs, like with drag and drop. We're going to make sure it's an item provider, and we're going to make sure that that item in the attachments conforms to type KUTT type text as string. So here we're guarding to make sure all these things are true, and the end result of all those things is that we can pull a piece of text out of that return items array. Then again, in order to load the data across the different processes, we use text item provider load item for type, and we make sure that we have some text, and then we update our bird name label text, which had the common text, with the new scientific text. And again, this works regardless of it doesn't need to be our extension that did this, right? We use our extension. We also use the other extension, which just changes the formatting of the string. It capitalized it and made it into large text. So that's where you get the power of these things, is that you can make a action extension that works across all different types of apps. I don't know how many people are supporting this though. I couldn't really find any good stats about this, but there's definitely a lot of potential out there. So that was a lot. Sorry it wasn't as absolutely polished as it could be today, but I hope that this helped get a better understanding of action extensions.